It's great to be at RSPB Arn. They say home is where the heart is. I've grown up in Hampshire, but fortunately my parents used to bring me to this part of the world in pursuit of sand lizards. When I was around 12 or 13, they became an obsessive focus of mine. It's very special. So the habitats that are here, the downland, and here on the acid soils, the sandy lowland heath and those valley mires are really important. They're not only important in the UK, they're important internationally. And I suppose as a youngster, the species that they attracted were very often unusual or rare. So in those days, we're talking 1960s, Dartford warblers were a lot rarer, nightjar of course. Then you've got all of those sand hunting wasps, and I loved things like Ammophila sabulosa when I was a kid. They were as close to sort of Ridley Scott's Aliens as I could possibly get. My relationship with nature reserves in the pure defined sense has changed throughout the course of my life. Now, as a kid, I loved going to nature reserves because they were repositories of life that I wanted to encounter, basically. But then I began to see them as, well, I called them little postcards of the past, because they were very often isolated, wrapped up in fences, managed to just keep a habitat as it was. But we've begun to think beyond that old-fashioned model. And this is a perfect example, because RSPB Arn is part of that supranational nature reserve. It's linked up with other bodies, and we're really looking at much wider level landscape management here, which is bigger thinking, which has far greater potential, and of course reduces the fragility of just this one area. But at the same time, we have to recognise that those nature reserves in the contemporary world offer people an opportunity, as they did me as a youngster, to engage with wildlife in a managed way. So people can come here, and due to the fact that we've not only learned to look after wildlife, but also learned how to let people see it without spooking it, scaring it and damaging it, they are a perfect place where people can engage with it. When we visit nature reserves, we can get a sense of a hope, a manifestation of that, because of all the effort, endeavour and energy that's been put into their restoration, their recovery and their management. But I'm equally conscious to say that we're in a biodiversity crisis, a global crisis, and it's hitting home here in the UK as well. So we can't stay still, our thinking can't stay still. This might be a model that's worked in the past, it might still be working now. What's going to work in the very near future? So I think hope lies in invention, it lies in taking risk, it lies in being big and brave and bold. And again, I go back to the fact that that's why I'm obviously keen to champion the Supranational Nature Reserve, of which RSPB Arn is a part, because that's giving this area more resilience, it's giving it more scope. There's more investment from more agencies, which is more interest, hopefully a bit more money, and that should lead to a more secure future. My top tip would be focus on one thing when you go into nature. I mean, it's just too much to take in. If you're going to see it, hear it, smell it and touch it, you're going to be overwhelmed. Well, I certainly am. So what I do is when I'm going out, I think to myself, right, today I'm only going to listen to birdsong. I'm not going to look at the birds, I mean I might have a sneaky peek, but my focus is going to be on just listening to song. And I really focus on that. And in terms of as a mental health benefit, I found that altogether more therapeutic. I mean, okay, you might miss something because you're not looking, you're touching, but go back the next day, start looking on that day. But focus on one thing, really delve as intensely as you possibly can into that. I don't need to tell anyone that we're in the midst of a climate catastrophe and a biodiversity crisis, which is not national, it's global. And we as a species, as a consequence, are imperiled. So what I would suggest to everyone is that you think about what you are doing, and you may be doing a lot, but then think about how you can step up. If you're feeding the birds in your garden, which might be playing a positive role to that community of birds, or you've put up all of your nest boxes in your garden and they're being used. What about making some and giving them to your neighbours? What about getting a community project going together? We've all got to basically stretch our comfort zones and move up a couple of rungs on that ladder so that ultimately we can make a difference in time. And if we're fortunate, we can answer that young person with a, yeah, I did it. I shouted above the noise and I did my bit to try and help when help was needed most.